What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel ANDERZÉN. Today I'm in the middle of a manual swap on my 1994 E420, and something special came up that I wanted to fill you guys in on and make a video for, especially outside of the video covering this whole project. If you do want to see that, check it out. It's on my channel, but this one is all about the lower harness rebuild on the E420. Alright guys, so basically in the middle of this project, you guys can see got a lot of stuff going on. Automatic has already been taken away somewhere, but this is the main battery cable for the lower harness. This goes from this terminal in the back over here, goes from this terminal in the back down there, and also plugs in on a plug and snakes down to the bottom of the car, connects to the starter and to the alternator. So that's what that main harness is for right here. Now there's a little tiny harness that's looped in with that has 4 wires. And those 4 wires, one of them being here, the longer one, is for a ground on the starter. And then these 3 wires, a black, a blue, and a green, are for a ground on the alternator, oil pressure sensor, and oil level sensor. So you can see I've already started taking those 2 apart. Well, one of them you can take apart. This is the one for the oil level sensor, I believe, and then this is the plug for the oil pressure sensor. This one, unfortunately, you can't take it apart to rebuild the actual terminal inside, so we're just going to have to solder based off the wire that's still left on here. If you don't know why I'm rebuilding this, 1992 to 1996, I believe, maybe earlier than that, Mercedes was using what turned out to be a very big mistake in biodegradable wiring harness sheathing. And basically over time, no matter what, no matter if you keep it out of the elements or whatever, it just starts to deteriorate like crazy. If it is in the elements, it basically just turns into dust. So that had happened to mine long ago, and I knew that eventually I was going to need to rebuild this. Now, you can't buy this anymore. It's a NLA part, no longer available part, the lower harness itself. My upper harness has already been replaced back in 2001, so that's good to go. But yeah, the lower harness needed to be rebuilt. I knew it when I bought the car, and it was something I expected to do. And I figured during this whole manual swap, everything is going to be nice and clear for us to get to, and it was the time to do it. So here we have what we're going to use for the refreshed 4 wires. This will be replacing that white ground wire, and then we have kind of new associations for what used to be black, blue, and green. Now we're using red, yellow, and we just kind of marked one blue. So this is what the terminal looks like on this side. You can lift up this clasp, which I'll show you guys later, and it looks just like this one does actually. They have basically a what you would imagine like a threading needle. Let's pull this out of here. So basically solder plugs up the hole and keeps the wire tight into this little terminal, and then you just slip that in and close up the plastic clasp. Luckily the plugs are still in pretty good shape actually for being so old. The plastic hasn't fallen apart. There's a little bit of cracking on this one, but should still hold up fine, and most importantly the metal terminal inside is in good shape. So the rest of it is okay. We have these little ring terminals that we have new ones anyway, so we're not going to reuse these. So yeah, there's 2 ring terminals. I don't know if this one still has it on there. I think it does. Like I said, one of them goes on the starter, one of them goes on the alternator, and then these 2 plugs. That's what makes up the 4 wires that go into this. The order for these inside of this class, which is the main one that connects up behind the ECU on the passenger side kind of firewall or cowl area. The thicker white wire originally goes on the top, the black wire goes to the right side, the green wire goes on the top left, and the blue wire goes on the bottom left. Designations I can pop up on screen, or it's in another part of the video, so I'll plug it in. I believe this is for one of the ring terminals. The blue one, actually we can try to look. Yeah, the blue one must be for the pressure sensor, and the green one is for the oil level sensor. So that's how it is. I'll pop it up on screen if I'm incorrect, but I think that's the order it is. We have this new harness that we wrapped up, and we use some marine grade wiring. So yeah, just gonna basically do the soldering, get it all put back together. You can see me, my OCD, put the factory sticker back on it. You know, keep it original. The sticker was still in really good shape when I was actually able to peel it apart and put it back together. So that held up better than the harness. But yeah, we'll basically get it all soldered. I'll try to get some footage of the soldering, get it back together, fit it up with the other harness, and then get everything back in. I don't need to lay it out exactly how it was in the car before. So we might try to, you know, make some improvements or some adjustments where needed, just to make it easier for install and removal. But overall, it's pretty straightforward, and I hope that this video can save you guys a lot of time and money, because when you do find the harnesses come up for sale, they are very expensive, and anyone who does rebuilds on the harnesses charges a lot of money, kind of more than I think is justifiable. When you look at the parts needed, it's only about $20 and maybe an hour or two of your time. So I guess, I don't know, people pay what they pay for things, and I'm thankful that people are out there servicing these. But yeah, if you're a DIY person at all, take this project on. It's not difficult. The internet made it sound much scarier than it is, and yeah, it's totally doable even if you have limited, you know, soldering, electrical knowledge. So alright guys, as far as soldering material, you can use whatever you have, but I have this nice Hakko unit that I have from work that I'll be using. It's all temp controlled and everything. We have some rosin core solder. This is kind of a fine grade. We have some bigger stuff if we need it. We have some wicking copper wire or copper braid, and we also have some flux as well. Probably need to tin the tip a little bit, clean that off before we start, but yeah, should be all we need, should be good. I usually have like my little hands-free working station, but I don't have that with me right now, so we'll just be kind of doing one at a time, holding it in the vise, getting it hot enough to pull the wire out, reinstalling the new wire, and putting the solder in. So pretty straightforward process. Try to get some footage of it, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, I was trying to heat this up with the soldering iron. We even put a torch to it, but that solder just wasn't pulling out. So we just used a drill and got it out instead. So now I'll just fill in our replacement wire and drop in the solder from the top. Alright guys, my soldering gun was too low and not heating this up at all. So seems to be working now.
Good. Should keep the hot heat on it.
Yeah.
Trim the end off.
Alright guys, you get the point of what we're doing as far as soldering. I'll go ahead and skip to the next part where we're getting the other terminals on and kind of getting it ready to go back in the car. All right, switching back to the phone. GoPro's dying, but I just want to show you guys what it looks like completed. So we have everything fitting nicely in the connector. Our black wire is for our main ground on the starter. The yellow one that is outside of the white sheath is for the alternator ground. And then there you can see the terminal for the starter ground. And then the red was for the oil level, and the green, or now yellow, for the oil pressure sensor. I think that was originally blue, but that's how it all looks right now. We'll test fit it, and then I can kind of wrap more of this up once we're underneath the car. All right, guys, so to finish off this wiring harness video, that's where it comes through. There's the two main cables, your battery one, and then the loom that we made that loops down here. The starter and that terminal will live right here. The starter is right there. So we'll get that in position once that's ready. And the alternator has those two plugs over here. And then there is the oil level sensor, and back there, if you guys can see it, is the oil pressure sender. So those are all plugged in. Everything's good to go as far as the harness. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys watching for the lower harness. Yeah, don't be afraid if you have to do it. It's a little bit difficult, a little bit of finagling, but not too bad.